This is as he's indicated called Carney Canal, and this canal is actually man-made. This is not a natural feature of the lake. It was a man-made canal. I don't know how long ago. I'm sure it's been quite some time ago, and they maintain it to keep it open. It allows the water to move from the bayou, Big Cypress Bayou that was just on. It allows it to filter through the swamp a little bit, give water to the swamp, and also drain the swamp sometimes. So though we look like we're still in a river, this is, like I say, a man-made cut, and we're fixing to come out into what we call the swamp, and it'll look a lot different still. The majority of the trees that you're going to see on the side here, we have heavy pine. See a lot of pine trees, and those that are kind of close to the water are what we call river birch trees. They like their roots to be wet, so they like that wet that wet habitat. The other thing you're going to see on the bank, you see a lot of erosion. And usually heavy boat traffic, especially if they fly through here really fast and make a lot of wave action, that causes the banks to erode. And that, not only does that, you lose your trees and you lose your bank, but it also fills in your cut. So they have to come through here and they'll have to redredge the cut. All of that is quite disturbing to a habitat. When they cut the trees, they have to maintain it pretty regularly. Over here on this side is actually an island. So we've left Big Cypress Bayou. So port side, starboard side, which is on the right, that's island, and that's part of that island is named Hell's Half Acre. If you look on the map, they call it Hell's Half Acre. I'm sure it's got some good history of how it got its name.
Yeah, that'd be reasons for that.
There'd be reasons for that, but I don't know what that is. If you look over onto this side, we have wildlife management area over here as well. We're completely surrounded by wildlife management area now. And this over here is kind of what we call Willison's Wood Yard. And there's a nice slough backwater area that if you look on the maps, it's called Willison's Wood Yard. All very nice area. There is, on this side, we have all hunting, all firearms are allowed over there, whatever's, guns and archery equipment at that point. Same way on this island. Okay, more questions right off the bat? Think of anything?
That's it.
Did you go deeper into what a birch tree is?
Yeah, we can kind of do that.
I had a student Ashley asked me what's a birch.
Somebody who would. You don't know the birch? How deep is the water here? It may be 8 feet. It could be as much as 10. So this is going to be some of the deeper water right now because it's got that boat cut and they like to get the big cuts through. And you can fish up in here. I see a lot of people that like to troll fish right in through here. With the trees down, it's going to be a lot of fish habitat. But a water birch is of course a deciduous tree, which of course means it loses its leaves in the wintertime. It will begin to bloom here pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken. It'll bloom out before it will put the leaf on. And what else can I tell you about a water birch? It has a real papery bark. You can always tell it because the bark is real papery. We do have deer. Deer will eat it on occasion. It's not at the top of their menu, but they do like it a little bit.
They can swim. Like to go down and get stuck.
Yes, absolutely. This channel is not an obstacle for any kind of wildlife. They'll swim this channel. I've even had people tell me a turkey would swim the channel. I don't know if that's really true, but the pigs, feral hog will swim the channel. White-tailed deer will swim the channel. Rabbits, armadillos don't swim very well. I wouldn't say they swim the channel very well. Raccoons, most of our animals are able to swim the channel.
So a deer will get in here?
Absolutely.
And just go through it?
Yeah, they'll swim it. They're pretty good swimmers. So the fact that we have islands doesn't prevent them from getting around anywhere on the wildlife management area because they'll be able to swim through pretty much everywhere.
Is Spanish moss a product of the tree?
No. Spanish moss is actually not a moss at all. It's an epiphyte, and we see a lot of it here. An epiphyte, this particular plant, this Spanish moss, and if we get near some, I'll pull some off. It is a flowering plant, so this gray stuff hanging off of the tree actually makes a flower and makes a seed, just like a regular daffodil or whatever. So it's a flowering plant, it's an epiphyte, it's not a parasite. You know the difference between the two? A parasite would be, it would take its nutrients from its host.
It harms it.
It harms the host.
Right.
Whereas an epiphyte is what they call an air plant, and it takes its nutrients from the air. That's why it grows best in really humid conditions, because it's getting moisture and it's getting minerals from the air. It is a flowering plant, and when it gets wet, it's kind of green. You can kind of see the greenish stuff. It will bloom in May, and the seed, once it goes to seed, it looks like a little fuzzy seed on a piece of fuzz, and it's airborne, so it blows to the next tree. It'll land on the bark and then begin to root and start all over again. But it's not actually a moss at all. Its scientific name is Tillandsia usneoides. Tillandsia usneoides. But it's not a parasite, but an epiphyte.